And that's what it looks like. It looks beautiful. I'm Mike, so I guess you can get some of that ASMR. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of El Jardín Perdido. Today, we're talking about growing for your zone. All right, guys, so as you know, I'm in Houston, Texas, zone 9A, and behind me, you'll see a ton of vines. That'll be one of my main talking points in this video, but really I want to focus on just growing for your zone in general, and also going with the flow and the permaculture way of some of those happy accidents that might happen. So behind me is a prime example, the African horn melon. Although it can be considered invasive, it's an alternative to the fact that I can't really grow cucumbers well into this part of the year. I have a small window in the spring, also in the fall, but it's really hard to get timing right, and then it's very short-lived. I want to show you guys around over here. This is one example. I've shown you in previous videos about like katuk. I grow Malabar spinach. I have I have this tropical zone, but only for a portion of the year, and we still manage to get freezes. So certain things just can't thrive, but this is prolific, considered invasive. Everything else is very short-lived. So it's a great way to get one of my greens. I'll show you in a minute, but it can grow to be like a full, I guess, melon, but if you catch it in its early stages, it serves as a great cucumber alternative. And they grow really crazy. They'll start this big and go to that size in like 3 days. So really prolific, drought tolerant, heat tolerant. So it's one of those happy accidents, because at some point I was probably experimenting throwing seeds around, or maybe I bought one out of curiosity and threw a seed, but I didn't plant this year. So it wants to grow here. One thing I will say to be weary of for this in particular is making sure it doesn't suffocate your pre-existing canopy. Right now, the che is fruiting, but it's kind of dropping fruit. It's still early. It's going into the figs that have already fruited, but I do have to keep it in check and make sure it doesn't kill anything. So yeah, you can consider this a bit invasive. It's growing pretty high. I may have to cut some things back. I've got some gourds here as a comparison that are a little more well-behaved. They're sharing the canopy. But this is growing all into the chicken pen, completely covering, there's a moringa under there too. So I do have to probably cut this back a little bit, but I do want to show you how great this is growing. Maneuvering around these guys is a little tough because they're spiky, but guess what? That also keeps the squirrels and pests away. Just holding this in my hand in its own weight, like, it's poking me a bit. So yeah, I harvest these guys a little bit early, but all I do is kind of blunt all the spikes here. I just pass a knife by them and get all that off, and I'll show you in a sec. I mean, it's exactly like a cucumber. Probably, I haven't looked into the nutritional value, but probably even more so better for you, because the rind is a lot hardier, thicker. That's where a lot of nutrition is, but it just feels, it's got more of a crunch to it. And the good thing about this is we're not worrying about distribution. It's not going from, Mexico to staying in Texas somewhere, coming back to me underripe. This is straight off the vine, so that's always a plus. Capture it at the peak freshness, and that's what it looks like. It looks beautiful. I'm Mike, so I guess you can get some of that ASMR. But it's pretty much, if you've ever gotten a cucumber, or maybe grown it next to some watermelons or other melons, cantaloupe, from the off gas of the cantaloupe, if you store cantaloupe and cucumbers together, it has like a tinge of melon in it. It's crispy, it's great, really hydrating, and this is early. If you keep letting them ripen, they'll get kind of an orange color to them. I haven't tried this batch that fully ripe yet, haven't really had a need to. This just started fruiting off, but I probably will have to tackle some of the vinage here, as it is getting a little bit carried away. But in the same token, I like how I have a few things like that. Like if I have, say, a mulberry that goes into dormancy and then something vining, or after it fruits, I'll let something vine up it. And so you're getting like kind of 2 uses out of 1. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. The cherry fruit is it's fruiting, but they're premature fruit that'll drop. And the fig already fruited once, although it still has some more fruit set on it. Kind of done with it. But yeah. So the main theme here, guys, is if you look up African horn melon, you'll probably see some horror stories. You'll probably hear terrible things. They can get a little out of hand. I think it's because they're made for Africa, and Africa is very, usually in a drought region. And so when they're getting enough rain and adequate rain and heat, they're going to go absolutely nuts. Like I said, though, the main thing is I didn't even plant these, but I'm making good with a bad situation. Are cucumbers growing now? No. I still have jalapenos and peppers and stuff like that, but for the most part, a lot of my vegetables and stuff like that aren't really going off right now. I may have some Seminole pumpkins, which is also another grow for your region plant that I've come across. So this is just me sharing with you guys. I am letting you know the potential dangers of letting something get completely crazy and invasive. Like I said, I've heard some horror stories, and at the same time, the vines themselves have a little stickiness to them. They'll prick you a little bit. Not too bad, but if you're doing it all by hand, you might start feeling itchy afterwards, but fair warning. But like I said, guys, it's just best to share with fellow gardeners, especially in my region, things that people may overlook but do really great here. Long beans are another example of something that does well with our heat here. So it's always good to keep a lookout. All right, guys, I just wanted to share my experience with you here today. If this is your first time watching, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you have any input, feel free to put those down in the comments and I will respond to you. All right, guys, well, again, that's going to do it for today's video. As always, thanks for tuning in. Until next time.